Welcome to a few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos we have the privilege of reading Parshas Chukas. Zos Chukas HaTorah. This is the statute of the Torah. And despite the fact that there are different types of mitzvos, there are mishpatim, which are civil laws, which are easily understandable. There are Toros, mitzvos, which have commandments, again, which are understandable, whether they are a remembrance of the going out of Egypt or some other reminder of a divine act and combination between the Jewish people's history and Hashem. And then there are chukim. Chukim are divinely given statutes, like the promulgations of a king, which don't necessarily have a given reason. But Rav Shamshon Hirsch has pointed out many times that we do have an ability to fathom some depth into the concepts that are part of the chukim. Now, the main chok that we're talking about at the beginning of this week's Sedra is the chok of tumah and tahara. Tumah means literally bones, referring to a dead body. And if one is in a building or room where there is a dead body, the tumah pervades the entire room, and any human being in it becomes tameh. Any vessel, any kli that is in the room becomes tameh, with one exception. As the pasuk in Yud Tes Vav says, "V'chol kli pasuach," any open vessel, asher ein samid pasil olav, that doesn't have a covering attached to it, tameh hu, it remains tameh. As Rashi points out from the Gemara, this is talking about a pottery vessel. A metal vessel does become tameh, but the metal ultimately can be kashered as time passes, and you immerse the metal vessel in a mikveh. The water cleanses the metal vessel, and the tumah goes away. But if it's a pottery vessel, then once the tumah goes in, it stays that way. As the pasuk says, "V'chol kli pasuach tameh hu," it remains tameh. It is never taken out of the state of purity. And as the pasuk in Parshas Tzav at the beginning of Vayikra explains, any type of clay cheres that tumah goes in, yishaver, it has to be broken because there's no way out of that tumah. Why is it that a pottery vessel, when tumah goes in, if it doesn't have a cover, remains tameh, while a metal vessel can be made tahor? The Menachem Mendel from Kotsk, the famous Kotsker Rebbe Zal, has an interesting explanation. He says a metal vessel and a pottery vessel both become tameh through the value of what's important to them. What is the chashivus? What is the value of a metal vessel? The value of a metal vessel is the metal itself. And consequently, any time the metal vessel is anywhere near tumah, if it's in a room, by virtue of its value in metal itself, the essence of the metal as value, it becomes tameh because its essence is exposed to the atmosphere of the tumah. But a pottery vessel, its essence is not the pottery. The pottery itself is practically worthless. It's no more than earthen, sand, or clay dried out in the sun, and it's physically, its properties are worthless. What gives a pottery vessel its chashivos, its value? Its toch, its inside, its receptacle quality. The fact that a pottery vessel has a receptacle that can absorb other things, that's its chashivos, that's its value. Therefore, if you have a covering on it and nothing can go in, the receptacle value is closed and the tumah cannot get in. As long as the cover is on, the tumah cannot get in. Once the cover is off, the tumah enters, and there's no way out but to break the vessel, because it absorbs it and it's tamei hu. This is the explanation of the Kotzker Rebbe Zal. I think that inherent in these explanations is a deep, deep value for us. You know, we, the human beings of the world, were created by Hashem by taking off our min ha'adama. He took the clay, the earth of the ground. We are a pottery vessel. In fact, we even mention that on Yom Kippur in the Kol Nidre service when we say, Ki hine kachomer biyad hayotzer. We're like the clay in the hand of Hashem who fashions us. We are a vessel which can absorb and take in. And we've got to be very careful that we don't allow tumah, impure thoughts, impure actions, impure dealings with our fellow man to enter into us. Because if they get deeply ensconced within our receptacle quality, we become tameh from those things. We almost become impossible to correct unless we break ourselves, unless we do a total tshuva. And consequently, it's so important to keep the vessel pure by keeping the lid on. Even today, they use such an expression. When someone is doing something wrong, we might say, do me a favor, put a lid on that. I don't want to hear that lashon hara. I don't want to hear that negative quality. I don't want to absorb from those bad things. We are like that pottery vessel. So even though the pasuk says, Zos Chukas HaTorah, this is the statute, and the statute implies that there's no logic. Oh yes, there's tremendous logic. There's such depth and beauty inherent within this simple concept of absorption. We shouldn't be that we're easily made tameh like the metal because we consider ourselves so valuable. We should be more like the receptacle with a lid on it that doesn't allow the tumah to pervade. And as long as we keep that lid on, we're able to maintain our purity. The Jewish people are the purest people on earth. The people who live with purity. They live with the purity of the spirit, of the attachment to Hashem. And Am Yisrael maintains that purity. The concept of Zos Chukas HaTorah is inherent in each and every one of us. And we can take that and we can build on it and we can enhance it to bring a spirit of tahara to our own selves, to our families, and to all of Klal Yisrael. Have a wonderful Shabbos.